All right, here we go. Oh, look, the closed captions was picking that up the whole time.
It's been going the entire time.
That's great. All right.
Those of you who are here early get to see what we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, folks, welcome in for another episode of Infodump. I've got my housemate here, Avery, BallinAve.
Woo.
Woo. And we're going to be talking NBA basketball. And, oh, wait, my browser source is on my stream manager. Why is that happening?
Nope,
okay.
That's gotta be.
That's not what I wanted. Hello.
I mean, yes, that is my face, Gabby.
What is happening? Why? I don't want it to capture this window. I want it to capture this window. You know?
You just add it to that.
We cheat.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
We're gonna cheat the system.
Yeah, that was smart. Yep. Nailed it. Present.
Boom.
Here we go. All right. We got it.
Easy.
Nailed it. Good job.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Proud of you. All right. So, you want to start with talking about why you want to talk about the NBA?
So, I am a big NBA fan simply because I think it is the most entertaining sports league from top to bottom when it comes to the games itself. I truly find the game of basketball very fun to watch, as well as all of the drama that is happening off of the court in these times. Really blends with the NBA well because it has that aspect of social justice where the players truly do care about these causes, but there's also petty drama between players that makes no sense. It has the whole range, you know?
Yeah, the whole entire range.
It has the entire range of things that really do matter and things that really don't fucking matter.
Yeah, that kind of bullshit that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just doesn't matter, but it's still entertaining.
Yeah, you talk about the NBA a lot, and it's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
You talk about the NBA just about as much as I talk about baseball.
Yeah, I will typically relate things back to the NBA in conversation. Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this time that happened this time way back then, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do you want to just get right down to brass tacks?
So... yeah, before we get into this, let's talk about my background as an NBA fan. So, I am still a fan of the game. I am here today representing a team, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
I am a fan. Upfront about it. I enjoy the team.
No Johns.
No Johns. I enjoy the team. But, So I started off as a Sonics fan growing up in Seattle. So that, when they moved away, I sort of had to pick a team, I realized. And I went with an East Coast team so that if the Sonics ever did come back, I could still root for both teams and be fans of both. Unless they met in the finals, then I would just be excited no matter what.
Yeah.
So we take those.
We take those.
All
right. So, I'm just going to let you be in charge of slides.
So, yeah, I'll take us to the next slide. So, here we have the Eastern Conference preview. So, this here is my order of the standings. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the order that I have put in here. And then from there, I will talk about each team individually afterwards. So, with a little bit of the ordering, sort of the bottom three teams, I would say, really have no chance of going anywhere near the playoffs. So the Knicks, they really just have 1,000 power forwards and no good point guards. Never have. They try to keep thinking that Frank Ntilikina is a thing, but
it's not a thing.
Frank Ntilikina is not a thing. He is a point guard who shoots 30% from the field, which is not good.
No, it's really not.
No, that's not good. Cleveland has two young guards, and that's about it. They got Kevin Love, who's getting paid like $35 million a year to be injured and not play.
To be injured and not
to
play.
be injured and not play, and request a trade.
Wow.
Yep.
Ain't that some shit?
Yep.
What's wrong with the Pistons, or rather, what's not wrong?
So the Pistons are actually, I think, in the best situation out of those teams because they are making it very clear with their actions. They want to tank.
They want it. Yeah, they're losing.
And you know what? I respect the tank. If you're gonna lose all the way, get the best draft pick, be better later, and be all about the process. Trust the process.
Yeah. And see, that's where I feel like I feel like you want to, like, if you're gonna tank, you're gonna tank. But like, if you've got young players and they start to click, it's not bad to win. But if you got nothing,
exactly, play your young players, let them develop, and if you tank, you tank.
Yeah. If they click,
they click.
Yeah.
And great. Exactly. Play your young talent, and they're kind of forced to do that because they don't have too much that's not young talent.
They don't have the vets.
No, they have Blake Griffin, who is mostly injured all the time.
Yeah.
And Derrick Rose, who likes coming off the bench.
There you go.
So.
All right. So looking above those bottom three.
So looking above those bottom three, we're gonna kind of get into another tier that I think is Chicago, Orlando, Charlotte. So the Bulls I have at 10. Simply because I believe in the upside of their lineup this year. I think Kobe White is going to take a big step forward. He's looked so good so far in preseason.
All right.
Like the first couple preseason games, he's shown some moves that, they look good. But Zach LaVine as well, another Pacific Northwest kid, went to high school in like the Bothell area.
Nice.
Multiple-time dunk champion. Like,
I love the dunk contest in the All-Star. Like, that's probably the thing I've watched the most of basketball is the dunk, because like I'm just big on like All-Star events too. Like in baseball, home run derby. I'm not sure what they do for the NFL, if they do like any fun events.
I actually do know a lot about. So the NFL has like this weird week leading up to the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
That's actually more what people care about. They play like a dodgeball game.
Oh, that's sick.
They do like a deep passing contest between the quarterbacks where they have like these target holes that you have to throw it through. It's super interesting. I actually like some of it.
Oh, sick. But anyways,
some of it's fun to watch, especially if you're into fantasy football, because then you know all the players.
Yeah. So anyways, Zach LaVine.
Yeah, Zach LaVine, like a 20, I think it was like a 25 point per game scorer last season. So he can score the ball. He's pretty good at it. That's about all he's good at. He doesn't really try on defense, but I believe in their coaching change will help them a lot. So they had the worst coach in the league, pretty much no question.
Oof.
Who did not do anything for his players. No. The man was not good. Jim Boylan. Jim Boylan went into practice, openly feuded with his best player, and it was not doing well.
Yeah. Just had to turn up my mic volume a little bit here.
Yep.
Anyways, so looking above the bottom three, we've got, you mentioned the...
So it's sort of this next tier.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the Orlando Magic. So the Orlando Magic, I think they're finally going to give up this year. So they're going to start off very mediocre, right?
Right.
They're going to start off somewhere. Probably they're going to start the season in the 9 seed range. And they're going to realize that they can't keep doing this.
All right.
They can't keep paying mediocre veterans to get the 8 seed. You know,
Oof.
That's what they've been doing for the past 4 years, is they keep trying to draft young talent, failing, and then ending up as the 8 seed. It's like the 7-8 seed range. Like,
What's the most expensive losing team in NBA history?
Probably the Warriors last year.
Oof.
Because, well, that's rough.
Hey, Nelly, thanks for the resub. 4 months, that's a long time. Big Pog, yeah, Pog indeed.
Yeah.
You like the new alert sound? What's poppin'? Well, we're talking about the NBA.
Yep, we are talking about the NBA. So, we're talking about the Orlando Magic, to be sure. To be clear.
Yeah, Orlando Magic.
The Orlando Magic. Nothing real magic about them. They're
nothing to believe in.
No, no.
I'm sure that joke's been made a million times.
I do not believe in magic.
Yeah.
Do I think it's rigged? The NBA is not rigged. It is definitely had its moments where, like, the lottery in particular is the one thing that I think could have been rigged. The one time I think it would have been there's sort of evidence of one rigging in NBA history in the lottery.
Yeah.
Where I think it was the Patrick Ewing draft. They rigged it so that the Knicks could get the first overall pick with the draft lottery.
Did they flunk that pick, or did it turn out well?
Patrick Ewing was really good. He's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, sorry. I thought I didn't realize that was. Oh, they drafted Patrick Ewing off of that.
Oh, they drafted Patrick Ewing.
Okay.
Yeah, like he was real good. Finished his career with the Sonics, actually.
Hey, let's go.
1 year with the Sonics, did not play well, and should have retired as a Knick. But you know what?
Didn't Jordan have bad years with the Wizards or something?
He wasn't bad though.
He just wasn't Jordan.
All
right.
Like he was still a 37, 38, and 40-year-old man who scored like 20 points per game.
Pretty good for a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
Who retired twice.
He had some moves still.
Yeah.
Like, going back and watching at least like the first Wizards year was pretty fun.
I'm just typing in LA. Let's keep moving.
All
to
right.
The Bulls.
So we already did the Bulls. So we're going back to the Charlotte Hornets. So the Charlotte Hornets are going to be pretty fun, actually. I don't know how good they're going to be. Because LaMelo Ball is going to be fun. He might not be good, but he's going to be fun.
He's going to be fun.
So LaMelo Ball was the 3rd overall pick in this past year's NBA draft. So he's going to be a rookie.
Okay.
But he has some of the best passing vision that I've ever seen, that like most draft people, like, this is the best passing prospect I have ever seen.
All right.
Like,
doesn't he also have like a reality TV personality?
His family has an issue.
Okay.
Mainly, so the dad, when the oldest brother got drafted 2nd overall by the Lakers.
Yeah.
The middle brother did not make the league.
Oof.
He was with a G League team last year.
Oof.
Got signed to an NBA roster before the season this year, and then got cut recently.
Oof.
And both of his brothers were top 3 picks in the draft. Yep.
Yeah.
But his dad famously claimed that he could beat Michael Jordan in a 1-versus-1 in his prime.
That's
when
bullshit.
He went to Washington State University, Wazoo, played basketball at Wazoo, and averaged 2 points per game off the bench.
Oh!
Hey, yeah,
gotta
have dreams. You gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah. All
and
right.
you know what? I will give him this. It made them a lot more famous, and they probably made a lot of money off of it.
Probably.
They probably made a lot of money off of it, which I can respect. But is basketball a sport?
Yes, next question.
Caden.
Pacers.
What do you think?
Oh, you're Hornets, right? Hornets or Pacers?
Yeah, so the Hornets are fun. They signed Gordon Hayward, Gordon Hayward is one of 3 players now to sign multiple 30 million per year contracts.
Huh.
So Gordon Hayward was signed for 4 years, 120 million this past offseason. Which, do you know who Gordon Hayward is?
No.
My point proven.
Exactly.
If you do not know an NBA player, they should probably not be making 30 plus mil.
I just realized the background's fucked a little bit.
So
keep talking.
Yeah, I got you. So, Michael Jordan is a terrible owner. He was a fantastic basketball player, terrible owner, gonna overpay people, always has. He paid Nick Batum 5 years, 120 something back in 2016. Just to cut him this offseason so he could sign Gordon Hayward to 120 million over the next
financial decision making.
Yep. Is it the owners who decide who gets paid what?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Michael Jordan is both the general manager and the owner, so he gets decision making.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Basketball owners have way more influence than baseball owners.
Yes. Basketball owners have the final say on like any signing. So no signing will happen without the owner having to like sign off on it first. There are general managers who have like basically the owner's full trust to do whatever the hell they want. And that is generally how it is done. There are owners who take too much control, and that's when things can go poorly.
New York Yankees. Sometimes they're the best, sometimes they're the worst with the ownership. Yep. Anyways.
That's the New York Knicks. They've had some decent general managers, but James Dolan just doesn't allow them to do their job properly.
Makes sense.
Let's move on to the next tier of teams. I have the next 3 teams sort of in the next tier. I have the Atlanta Hawks, the Washington Wizards, and the Indiana Pacers. So I have the Indiana Pacers missing the playoffs slightly. So the 8th seed makes the playoffs, but the 9th and 10th seed do not. Except for this year, there's a play-in tournament between the 9th, 10th, and the 7th and 8th seed to make the last 2 playoff spots. So if either of the 9th or the 10th seed wins 2 games against the 7th or the 8th seed before the 7th or the 8th seed win 1, then they get in. But if the 7th or the 8th seed win 1 game, then they're in.
Yeah.
So basically it's a best of 3 where the 7th and the 8th seed start with a 1-0 advantage.
Yeah.
So let's start with Indiana.
Fuck Indiana.
Yeah, fuck Indiana.
Anyways.
For different reasons.
But the Pacers.
They have an interesting situation right now with Victor Oladipo. So he's kind of going through a phase where he's being a bit of a drama queen.
Okay.
There's a bit of things going around where he wants to be traded, doesn't want to be traded, is gonna play, is not gonna play, is coming off an injury, how good is he really, so how much is he really worth when a team wants to trade for him. I guess I will hydrate.
Yep, you're on the podcast, you have to hydrate.
Right, hydration.
Well, yeah. Drama queen, trade, don't trade?
Yeah, a little bit. Not quite to the extent of James Harden. Which
we'll get there.
We will get there.
We'll get there.
I will go. But yeah, the Indiana Pacers, pretty good. But I think they're barely going to miss it this year. I think they're 2 players. They sort of have 4 players that are good other than Victor Oladipo. So they have a decent team. I mean, Victor Oladipo with Malcolm Brogdon running the point, TJ Warren running the small forward, Sabonis and Miles Turner running the 4-5. That's a solid team.
Yeah.
But I think the East is a lot better this year than it has been in the past, where there's actually competition.
Okay.
Because I think the 7th through 9th seed, fairly interchangeable.
All right.
It's just that I think they barely miss out because I think the Oladipo drama is going to keep them just out of reach.
Makes sense.
So we can go on to
the Wizards.
So the Wizards participated in one of the most interesting trades.
Interesting how?
Interesting trades in the past 5 years.
Okay.
It's a sideways trade for both teams, I think.
All right.
Where both players just seemed like they needed a new start.
Change of scenery.
Place. Yeah, they needed a change of scenery. And the Wizards got the slightly better player, so they had to throw in a first-round pick. So John Wall for Russell Westbrook. So John Wall is coming off of a year and a half of not playing games because of injury. He was injured with like a knee injury, and then while recovering from the knee injury, tripped and fell down his stairs while at home and tore his Achilles.
Huh.
Yep. So
truth is stranger than fiction.
Yep. This is the crazy shit that happens in the NBA.
Yeah.
So then he didn't play for a year and a half.
Okay.
And now he's going to be playing for the Houston Rockets because he got traded from the Wizards to the Rockets. But they got Russell Westbrook back, who is making $44 million this next year.
Really?
Yeah. It might be like 41, but it's 40 plus.
That's a lot of fucking money.
John Wall is also making 40 plus.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, these are both two overpaid point guards who are athletically past their prime and primarily point guards that rely on their athleticism and explosiveness because they are not shooters.
Well, that seems like an issue.
Yes. I'm just going to say yes.
Yes.
Yes. So he's not actually the Wizards' best player, even though Russell Westbrook is an previous MVP. He's going to be good. Like, he's a good presence for their locker room. I feel like he's going to bring a mentality that team needs to start winning. But Bradley Beal is going to be the piece that just really puts them over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, Bradley Beal is one of the best scorers I have seen in the league right now. He's so good. Similar range to Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, but like better.
Okay.
Like, he scored 30 points per game last year in the NBA.
Fair enough.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
Like,
just
you do not score 30 points per game and be a bad player.
Just a side note, folks, we're gonna have an ad break in the next 4 minutes.
Okay.
So I think what we should do is wrap up all to the top, like get to the Hawks.
Yeah, I'll do the
Hawks. And then we'll do the top 6 after the ad break.
Yes.
Just so you know, you won't miss anything over the break. We will not talk about anything in the top 6 over the break. However, if you want ad-free viewing, if you want to support the stream, if you want to see the behind the scenes, like when we order pizza and shit, drop a sub. I do ad-free viewing for subscriptions.
We will be ordering pizza during our ad break.
Yeah. And just in general, for Infodump, I will also answer more subscribers' questions during ad breaks. We will interact with subscribers more directly during ad breaks.
Yep.
Subscribers get priority to get their questions answered.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, anyways, let's keep going.
All right. So, the Atlanta Hawks. Let's get through these. So, the Atlanta Hawks had a really interesting offseason. I'd say they actually won the offseason as much as there was an offseason to win. It wasn't a great free agency class, but what there was of a free agency class, they got.
All right.
So they signed Bogdan Bogdanovic. Really good ball handling 2/3 to come off their bench.
I just want to say before we keep going is the closed captions got that right.
Bogdan Bogdanovic?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So shout outs to PubNub for good closed captioning. Anyways.
But yeah, Bogdan Bogdanovic, just because I want to see it again. Yeah, so good ball handling 2/3.
It didn't pick up on the mic when you said that.
Okay. Good ball handling 2/3. that will probably start for them. They signed Danilo Gallinari away from the Thunder. Good scoring, good shooter, 3-4, probably more of a 4 now in his age.
Yeah.
And then they have a good center coming off that they traded for last year in Capella. They have the up-and-coming star in Trae Young, who's a great point guard, big-time shooter, scored a lot last year. Yeah, really just an interesting team with a lot of depth. They also have 2 up-and-coming wings in Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter. They just have a lot of players. Kevin Huerter, great shooter. They have a lot of minutes. There's a lot of minutes in the game, but they have too many players, it seems, for those minutes, and somebody's going to be left out of that rotation.
And that's going to be bad for chemistry?
Probably. One of these players will probably end up traded at some point into the season.
Makes sense.
It's just a matter. Like, my bet would be John Collins is traded from this team, even though he's a 20 and 10 guy.
Yeah.
Like, he'll get 20 points, 10 rebounds, like, it's nothing. But he's still probably going to get traded this season because he has to get a contract next offseason.
Makes sense.
Because his rookie deal is ending.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're overpaid, it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, there are plenty of overpaid players in the NBA. Most of them.
It sounds like it.
Oh, yeah.
There's also plenty of overpaid players in the MLB.
Yeah. It just happens that teams really want to keep their players, and sometimes they pay way too much to do that.
Yeah.
Especially with the way the NBA system works, with you're able to sign your own players to more money than if another team were to sign them.
That's a fair incentive to make players
it's a fair
stay.
Incentive to make them stay,
but
a lot
it
of
destroys
them don't
payroll.
Yeah, so it destroys the salary cap sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially with it being percentages, it goes up so much for superstars when they stay. They get this thing called the Supermax, and that is why Russell Westbrook is making $44 million per year.
That's so much money.
It's so much money.
Folks, we're going to be running our first 90-second ad break. If you don't want to deal with ads, or if you want to listen to us order pizza, make sure to drop a subscription. I do ad-free viewing for subs. Yep. And also, while we're ordering pizza, we'll answer any questions you have if you're a subscriber. You won't miss anything, though, so stick around. Alrighty.
All right. Let us get the pizza up.
Pizza, Domino's pizza. Hello.
Yep. I'm gonna see if Gabby wants to come order pizza.
Yep. All right. And what's really funny is that this conversation is gonna pick up on the closed captioning. Mm-hmm. So people will get to just
see. They'll get to read what happened.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm thinking we'll probably do.
I'm gonna redeem my free pizza.
Oh, yeah. Gabby's coming.
To a house, which we won't say the address because we don't want to dox ourselves via closed captioning.
You're correct.
And for my free pizza, I really want to try this Philly steak.
You want to try that one?
Yeah, and this is the free one. So.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to grab the gift card later? You don't need to.
Continue
We're
shopping.
not gonna order now. Probably. Although we probably should.
We should order it and we can schedule it.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And
can you go get the gift card? Thank you.
So pizzas.
I am coming.
Do we want to do the
let's do the 2 medium.
What's the first medium that we want to do?
Let's do like a pepperoni and a
Hey, you
Hawaiian.
still get to see some ordering pizza, folks. The ad break's done.
Pepperoni and a Hawaiian.
Yep, pepperoni and a Hawaiian. Sounds good. Mm-hmm. We'll do the double pepperoni because that was kind of pog last time, not going to lie.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, and then a Hawaiian. Mm-hmm. Start from scratch. Cheese and sauce.
And then we need to do a gluten-free one.
Yeah, ham.
They do salad.
Do they do salad? Do you want a salad?
They do salads. Do you want a chicken Caesar?
How How big is it?
Oh wait, that's got croutons. Both of them have croutons. We can request no croutons.
Right.
Actually we can't on this coupon.
Really?
I think they're
That's
pre-made.
rough.
That's okay.
F.
Do you want to do a gluten-free pizza then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specialty pizza? Build your own?
No, it's in the cut. Just if you go into a build your own,
Okay.
you can select the crust.
All right. This is riveting content, I'm sure.
Yes. This is the most riveting of content. You get to see us figure out how to work it. Special instructions?
It has to be 10-inch.
Oh yeah.
So this is Gabby's pizza.
Yep.
So it does not recommend this pizza for customers with celiac.
It's okay. It's okay.
She
Okay.
does it. She knows it's okay.
All right. What do you want on it?
Okay.
Pizza ordering.
Okay.
This is amazing.
I'll take some honey barbecue sauce.
Some
Okay.
honey barbecue sauce pizza.
Where's the cheese option?
These are it's just cheese, and then you got
Oh,
normal.
that's
white.
on toppings.
Oh,
On toppings. you
extra
can do.
cheeses. You can put some cheddar, some provolone.
What do you want? Cheddar.
Yeah.
You want provolone as well, or just cheddar?
Nah.
What do you want any meat?
Nah.
Do you just want a super cheesy pizza?
Yeah.
Do you want some feta?
No. I already had some feta today in my Panera.
Okay. Do you want any other toppings?
Onions.
Onions.
That's a fair. Yeah.
All right. And is that good?
Yes.
Do you want tomatoes on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Where the?
Just tomatoes.
There we go.
There we go.
Add to order. All right.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
All right.
And we'll order this in the next break. We'll finish
Yep.
ordering.
Yep.
But anyways, the Raptors, top
Yeah,
6.
So the Raptors. So these top 6 are not quite interchangeable, but they're all in a similar place.
Okay.
I think any one of these 6 teams could win the East and come out of the East for the finals. The Raptors won the title 2 years ago, but they had Kawhi back then.
Right.
And we're going to talk about Kawhi later when we get to like the MVP conversation.
Because he's that good.
Because he's that good. So it's then interesting to look at them and say, how did they stay so good last year? After they lost Kawhi, they still were the second best team in the East, record-wise. They ended up losing. Wait.
What?
When did they ended up losing to the Celtics last year? I was like trying to remember what team they lost to in the playoffs. I was like, what did happen?
What? Yeah, what do?
What did happen?
Yeah.
They lost to the Celtics in the second round of the playoffs. After that, the Celtics lost to the Heat. But so the Raptors, they got Pascal Siakam. Fred VanVleet signed back for a lot of money. They lost Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, which were like their 2 main big guys. But they signed Aaron Baines, who's like worse than both of them, but still decent and still going to be good to help their middle, help hold down the middle with some shot blocking. Chris Boucher is going to be pretty good for them.
Right.
To be able to do stuff. Let's see. We can go on to the Miami Heat.
The Heat?
This is an interesting team.
All right.
So they actually went to the finals last year and didn't lose anyone. And yet I have them ranked as the 5th seed.
Why is that?
There's a belief going around that I tend to agree with, that is that the Heat truly did benefit from the bubble so much.
All right.
In the way that it brought their team together chemistry-wise.
Okay.
No other team benefited from the bubble the way that the Miami Heat did. Jimmy Butler truly is a one-of-a-kind leader that truly fit the young players that like banded around him.
So they were a product of this historical moment.
Yes.
More so than of their talent.
They're still a very good team.
They're very talented, but it was the historical
team.
moment that took them over the edge.
Yeah, it really gave them that edge, I feel like. They're still a very good team, and they're going to finish 5th in the East, and I still believe that they could win the East this year with, like, similar circumstances. Like, they could come together again in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're a team that's going to go all out for the regular season and don't have the talent to just not go all out to get a high seed.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes sense.
The Boston Celtics. So this might be a little bit of a fan pick to put them this low. The fact that I am a Philadelphia 76ers fan, and it is quite literally a Philadelphia 76ers saying to go FTC, which means fuck the Celtics.
Fuck the Celtics.
I still recognize that the Celtics are very good. So over here, can they see my cursor?
If they can, they can, but it's also minuscule.
Okay, so
if you see the movement, if your eyes are good enough.
I'm hovering over Jason Tatum right now in the bottom right. So he's their star player, the guy in the green and white. He's the star player of the Celtics, and Jimmy Butler was the star player for the Heat normally. So with Jason Tatum, he's really good young wing. Supposedly he grew 2 inches this summer. Allegedly. So they're listing him as 6'10" now.
Okay.
Rather than 6'8". Really good, can play anywhere, the 3, the 4, maybe the 2 if you really wanted to push him.
So for the 3, the 4, the 2, what do you mean by that?
So
is that the numbers on the board that correspond to positions, or
they
is that
correspond?
That's
with
what
positions.
I figured.
So 1 is point guard, 2 is shooting guard, 3 is small forward, 4 is power forward, 5 is center.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't you're the because like I was going between either it's like baseball positions, 1 through 9, or it's it's a pitching rotation 1 through 5, and I was like, which one of those two?
Yeah. So I would consider anywhere 2 through 4 can be considered a wing player.
Okay.
Anyone who plays the 1 or the 2 can be considered a guard.
All right.
4 and 5 can be considered a big.
Okay.
So when I say those, that can be what they're referring to.
Hi there, Baby Region. Thanks for subscribing, Mom.
All right. Thank you for the sub.
Thank you for the sub. It helps me a lot. And thank you for playing Hello There, Baby Reg. I realized I should have my headphones on so I can hear the sound effects.
Oh, yes. All right. So we can now talk about... So Boston Celtics as well, besides Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown can do so much. Those 3 players are great. They did end up losing Gordon Hayward in the offseason, who was good for them, but he did get paid $30 million per year, which he wasn't worth.
Yeah, $30 million's quite a bit.
That's a lot of money. I wish I had $30 million per year.
Same.
That would be great.
I wish I had even 30,000.
That would be great.
Yeah.
It really would.
College student.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. So the Boston Celtics, final thing. Didn't they get a big man this offseason? Did they sign someone?
Let's look at No, you don't have that in the notes.
No, I don't. They did not.
I love your prep document, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring it up more when we get to Harden. But, so, just to break the veil of illusion, we do a prep document for this. This isn't entirely unscripted. We don't have a script that we follow. We just have a general guide.
Yeah.
And that allows for a lot of personality to come out from the people I have on, such as Avery. And it's going to show a lot when we get to Harden.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
So Boston Celtics, they just have a lot of weird players. They have a really good coach who's really good at getting the best out of his players offensively, because he can manufacture points with good plays drawn up.
Right.
it's really interesting. Watching his out of bounds plays, they're like magnificent to watch. It's like chef's kiss every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
We did that in sync.
Every time. Brad Stevens out of bounds plays, they're beautiful.
All right.
Gotta drink some water.
Yeah.
Throat's getting a little dry.
There you go.
All right.
I'm drinking spicy water.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, the Brooklyn Nets.
Let's
move on to the Brooklyn Nets. This is actually, I think, one of the most interesting teams headed into next year. The amount of variance in how this team could perform is probably the highest of any team on this list. So, realistically, this team could blow up in a ball of fiery whatever.
Yeah.
And finish like the 10 seed.
If it all falls apart.
If it all falls apart, they could be the 10 seed. If this clicks, they could be the 1 seed. Far and away the 1 seed. I have them here because I believe that Kevin Durant will be coming back as 90 to 95% of what he was, which is still a top 5 player in the NBA.
Right.
Because before he got injured, I believed he had overtaken LeBron in that moment as the best player.
And then he got hurt.
And then he tore his Achilles.
And also LeBron came out.
And yeah, then LeBron did his thing. And
LeBron was LeBron.
LeBron, yeah. He's really good at basketball.
At the end, we'll probably end up getting to this. But I think at the end we'll talk about LeBron versus Jordan a little bit.
Oh, I could definitely talk about that argument.
But we'll do that after we get through the East, because we haven't gotten to the Western Conference yet.
Yes. We can do that.
Yeah.
So all right. Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, great. Kyrie Irving, one of the most dynamic ball handlers we've ever seen. If you've ever seen Uncle Drew, have you ever seen the Uncle Drew
I think so.
series?
Yeah, I think so.
Kyrie Irving goes to pickup games in New York dressed as an old man.
Yeah, I love those commercials.
They're so good. And it's so good because Kyrie makes people look silly.
Yeah.
And it's not just because he's an NBA player. It's because he's Kyrie Irving. He makes NBA players look silly sometimes.
Yeah. Like, he's talented.
He made a player fall in the Rising Stars Challenge game.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so it's the rookie-sophomore game, and he was a sophomore year player in the rookie-sophomore year game. And he crossed someone so bad they fell over. He stood there, looked at him, shot the 3, splash.
Yeah.
Just embarrassed him.
Yeah.
So here we go. All right, I am going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, baby.
I am going to give myself 10 minutes maximum to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers.
We're holding this right now. I'm going to make a predictions probably.
You're making a predictions?
Yeah, I'm just... No. First, I've got to do this. Because it's something I'm supposed to have on.
Okay.
But yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, all right. Philadelphia 76ers. Our 2 stars are Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Those 2 players are 2 defensive studs and 2 up-and-coming young stars. Joel Embiid already is like a top 10 level player in the league, and Ben Simmons is like a top 15 who can't shoot.
Yeah.
So,
keep going.
With Ben Simmons not being able to shoot, though, he's pretty much top 5 in the league in almost every other category. He's my pick this year to win Defensive Player of the Year. We will get to that later, but personally, I think Ben Simmons will win Defensive Player of the Year this year, with Philadelphia having a revamped defense due to a new coaching staff, which they brought in this past offseason. They brought in their new coaching staff, and so happy to be rid of the old coaching staff. Brett Brown did not know how to run an offense. Brett Brown was stuck in the year 2004.
All right, and what do you mean by that?
That's when he probably had his most success. He was an assistant coach with the San Antonio Spurs, and he wanted the Philadelphia 76ers to become the second coming of the Spurs.
Okay.
So the Spurs dynasty was like the past 20 years. Well, we'll get to them.
Yeah.
So he had the most success building around Tim Duncan, and he was trying to make Joel Embiid Tim Duncan when he is just Joel Embiid, not Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Yes. So, with him being fired and actually having a competent coach, more than actually a competent coach, a good NBA coach in Doc Rivers being brought in, along with some of the top assistants in the league being brought in for both offense and defense.
All right.
They traded Josh Richardson and Al Horford in the offseason, who were players that were brought in the previous offseason, who really just didn't fit this team style that they needed. With a big man and a guard that can't shoot being your two main pieces that you want to build around, you need to surround those with shooters. And if you're not going to surround those with shooters, it's not going to work.
Right.
Al Horford, they brought in another center basically to play power forward, which did not work because he was an old center.
Right.
They paid him like $100 million over like 4 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, which was too much. They made a mistake.
Yeah.
They then were able to dump his salary to OKC for a draft pick, and they got Danny Green back.
All right.
Because Danny Green is a great shooter, a great defender who just is coming off back-to-back championships. He played for the Raptors the year that they won it as like a key piece, and he played for the Lakers last year as like a key piece.
Nice.
So, I'm not saying anything, but like...
I'm not saying
anything, but like, third in a row.
Yeah.
Third in a row. Alright. So, we now can get on to some of the bench pieces. Or actually, let's get to the Josh Richardson trade. Josh Richardson trade. So, we traded Josh Richardson for Seth Curry. Seth Curry is Steph Curry's younger brother. You've probably heard of Steph Curry. Seth Curry, the slightly downgraded version, but still very good at the game of basketball, is actually shooting a higher percentage from three than Steph Curry.
Huh.
Seth Curry is the all-time second player in career three-point percentage.
Behind
Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Who is now the coach of the Golden State Warriors, but was a player for the Chicago Bulls in the 90s.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. With the Jordan runs.
Yeah.
The second one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So.
When you stop playing baseball.
Oh, yeah. So, with that, Seth Curry, real good. Shoots the three real good. They brought in Danny Green, who's also a good shooter. Shake Milton is going to be one of the first pieces off of our bench, and he's really good. I forgot to mention Tobias Kerr won MJ a championship. Yeah, he did. He did hit a key shot. He did.
Fair enough.
With the same logic, you could say Ray Allen won LeBron a championship, so...
Out here arguing with your dad.
I am out here arguing with my dad. Thanks for acknowledging.
Yeah.
I have to. You are my dad. So Tobias Harris is fantastic. He was paid too much money, but he's still a really good NBA player. And they actually brought in Doc Rivers, who was his coach when he was at his best in the NBA. He's still young and can honestly do so much still. He just needs to get back to making quicker decisions.
Right.
Our coaching staff is actually going to run the pick and roll this year, which is the only form of offense that currently exists in the NBA that is realistically
the only thing that's viable.
I mean, it's not the only thing. but it's one of the only...
Practically.
It's the pick and roll and variance on the pick and roll.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. What? We'll get to this after, because I'm not gonna cheat you out of the...
So, let's go with Shake Milton. Shake Milton is, I think, this year's out-of-nowhere Sixth Man of the Year candidate. He might not win the award, but I think he's going to come out of nowhere and be in contention for the award. He's so good. Our coach is constantly talking about how good he is. Our fan base loves him. He scored 40 points in an NBA game last year against the Clippers, who are a really good defensive team. He had players like yelling out, "How the fuck do I stop this guy?" on the court. It was picked up on microphones.
Let's go.
There was like an all-NBA defender who yelled out, and it got picked up on mic. "How the fuck do I stop this guy? Get me some help."
I love when stuff gets picked up on hot mics.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. It might be my favorite thing in sports, other than the sports themselves.
I love hearing the like slight comments that you hear sometimes. You definitely heard some of them at like the start of the bubble when they were still getting the audio levels correct.
Yeah.
You definitely heard some stuff that was great.
Yeah. In baseball, the best is somebody strikes out and just yells, "Fuck!" And it picks up on the broadcaster's mic in the booth. Because they just turn around and yell, "Fuck."
Damn. That is
Daniel
loud.
Vogelback.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Daniel Vogelback. Anyways.
No longer a Mariner. I said Sonic.
Never a Sonic, no longer a Mariner. Daniel Vogelback on the Sonics. I don't think Daniel Vogelback can play basketball.
Yeah.
He is not an MLB player who would pick to play basketball.
Yeah.
There are some MLB players who would pick to play basketball, and Daniel Vogelback is not one of them.
Nope.
Kyle Lewis is one. He'd be short, but he's so athletic.
Yeah. There's a lot of athletes and like the outfielders in baseball could generally
I'd say
try.
outfielders, shortstops.
Maybe third baseman, depending on.
And Evan White, the Mariners' first baseman, who is the best defensive first baseman to ever play baseball.
He is trying to force this opinion on me. I have no other opinion to stand on.
Well, here's the thing. He's also maybe the first super, like, he's not the first, because there's also, like, what's his name? Fuck, he played for the Rays. Anyways, there've been, like, a few really defensively minded first basemen.
Yeah.
But Evan White outclasses them all. And then most of the rest of baseball history, first basemen were just, hey, hit good.
Hit good.
Catch ball when thrown at chest.
Okay.
Get money.
Yep.
And so, yeah. Anyways.
All right, so we're actually going to now talk about a player who plays for the 76ers, who I played against in high school.
Oh, baby.
So Matisse Thybulle went to Eastside Catholic in high school, and let's be frank, he did 360 dunk on one of my friends.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a big oof. Go Metro. Yes, Metro was rough.
Yeah.
To play in for the 2 years that I did, but I did get to play against 5 future NBA players. 5, maybe 4, maybe 5.
I'm waiting. You got like 3 minutes. You got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay, so Matisse Thybulle went to UW as well, so stayed local. I watched him at UW. And then he went to the Sixers, who I had pretty much already chosen as my team. So it really just worked out perfectly. So with that, he's an outstanding defender. He won National Defensive Player of the Year in college in his senior season.
Wow.
He broke the all-time steals record in the Pac-12. He led the Pac-12 in both blocks and steals. Or no, he didn't lead them in blocks. He broke the all-time record for blocks by a guard.
Wow.
He does this super weird thing where he lets you get slightly by him, and then when you try and pull up for a jumper,
he just says,
he comes from over the top behind you and will not touch you and take the ball. and block the shot. He's so good at altering the shot from behind someone. He's 6'5" with a 7'1" wingspan.
So like me scaled up.
Yes. It is insane. So you see his arms, and they just go so much further than you would expect.
Yeah.
He also gets in passing lanes like no one's business.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I still got players to get through. Oh no. Let's see. Who else do I want to get to? I want to get to Tyrese Maxey.
Do you want me to tell you the loophole?
The loophole? What is the loophole?
You say, "Hey, we're gonna talk about the Bucks now, and then after the break, I'm gonna talk more about the 76ers." Yes, Gabby.
We can.
All right.
So.
But you have to move on in the next 10 seconds.
All right. I'm gonna move on to the Bucks, and you know what? Actually, no. I need to continue. I need to talk about Tyrese Maxey.
Yep.
Tyrese Maxey is the steal of this past year's draft.
All right.
The man works out with LeBron. Before he was in the NBA. He signed with Clutch, which they only take like really good prospects. And he is a really good prospect.
All right.
Great 1/2. He's a combo guard.
I'm gonna break in real quick.
Yep.
In the next 2 minutes, we're gonna be running another 90-second ad break. As a reminder, subscribers get ad-free viewing. We're not gonna advance the conversation during the ad break, since I'm choosing to run it, and Twitch would not put it in a good spot, so I'm just gonna do it myself. Yeah, but if you want to see us talk more about pizza or answer subscriber questions during the ad break, make sure to drop a subscription. I am 2 subs away from getting more emotes. And also, yeah, subscriptions directly support the stream. Anyways, that's my spiel. Avery, you've got 1 minute, 30 seconds before we run the ad.
All right. Oops. Oh, well.
You're good.
All right. So, let's get to Tyrese Maxey. Great combo guard, can handle the ball. He's going to do that a lot for the 76ers this year. The coaching staff loves the man. Apparently a fantastic worker with a great work ethic. Already has shown so much improvement. Was a top prospect coming out of high school. Didn't necessarily disappoint in college, but didn't play up to his fullest potential, and other people sort of passed him up.
Yeah.
In a lot of like the draft people's minds, and he sort of fell in the draft too. He was supposed to go in like the late lottery, so the 14 pick range, but the Sixers got him at 21.
All right.
21 or so. So he fell like 7 picks below where he was expected, which is a lot for the NBA draft. So we got someone better than we would have expected. Who else do I want to talk about on the bench? We also signed Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was a fantastic defensive backup big for us to sign so that we can actually be a competent defense when Joel goes off the court. The offense is just going to flow a lot better this year because we actually have a coach that can coach offense. Brett Brown was just a motivator. He didn't actually coach offensive schemes that worked. He was a good motivator, I'll give him that, but he didn't coach the game of basketball very well.
Right.
Which was necessary for the group of players that he had. And with that, we can run the ad break.
We are running the ad break. All right. So, let's just.
All right.
Let's just order the pizza. Let's just order the pizza.
Pepperoni.
We save $35.99.
Um.
Do you want to add some bits, some garlic breads?
Yes.
We need to tell your dad to hit the follow button.
Yeah, I will text him to hit the follow button.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do we want to add bread things or not?
Yeah, let's add them.
All right, Parmesan.
What time do you want to order it for?
I don't know.
7:15.
But I'm thinking that
I'll go a little bit faster on the west.
Yeah. Well, I figured you go faster on the west.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I might tomorrow run to the store and get some heavy cream because we have a hand blender. I was thinking of making my own garlic butter and see how that turns out.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, later, 7 p.m.
7:15.
7:15.
That works.
Yeah, and again, in the end, we can eat some pizza if we're still going. There's no time limit. I only have like an hour and a half of homework left.
Solid. All right. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, literally, like if this went fast, what I was gonna do is I was gonna end stream, and
grind.
End stream, do homework, and then start another stream. But if we're gonna go longer, then I don't need to do a second stream for the day.
Yeah.
Because you only want about like 3 hours of streaming in a day.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could get that.
You can absolutely hit that.
I could hit 5.
Let's see here.
Convince me otherwise.
Pay now with debit, and then
we have a.
Can we apply? How do I apply that? We're still doing.
We're trying to figure out how to use a gift card that I have.
We're trying to fit. Yeah, gift card. Yeah. Yes, I do. Hold on. Cannot be used for future orders. I think we just order it now then. Actually, we'll order it in the next ad break.
Okay.
Anyways.
We should order it now so that we get food.
True.
Yeah.
We can always eat on the podcast.
The house would want food.
Yeah.
We don't want to starve Gabby and Caden.
Yeah, they would get cranky.
They would get cranky. Both of them get hangry.
True. All right, but yeah, we're gonna order it. You want to finish your bid on the 76ers? Well, I just take this from you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the sticky thing off, but it wasn't working.
Does this matter? You've already got. Oh, let's see. I see. Use. I do. I got it. Keep going.
Okay. So, the Philadelphia 76ers. Did I pull some numbers off? That would be bad.
That would be bad, but I don't think you did.
So the Philadelphia 76ers, I think personally they're going to finish second in the regular season, but I think they actually come out of the East this year in the playoffs because I don't think Milwaukee does well in the playoffs because Giannis is a notorious choker. Yeah, he likes to do things that involve restraining the passage of air through his lungs.
So he likes to hit the booth.
Yeah, he likes to choke.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. Along with his coach, all right, let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks because I have some issues with Mike Budenholzer. Well, the man is a fantastic regular season coach. He will win you a lot of games in the regular season. The problem is that Mike Budenholzer continues to coach the same way as he did in the regular season in the playoffs. He will play the same amount of players that he did in the regular season as he does in the playoffs. Giannis only plays 30 minutes in the regular season. And guess how many he plays in the playoffs?
How many?
32.
Huh.
It's because his coach likes to just not play him that much for some reason. He likes to play a very deep rotation that relies a lot on having depth, which the team doesn't have this year. The team traded away a lot of their depth for other players, so they wanted to upgrade at particularly their point guard position.
Right.
They had Eric Bledsoe, but they traded him alongside George Hill for Drew Holiday. They traded, I think, 4 first-round picks alongside those guys, which is a lot.
That is quite a bit.
Like, they overpaid to get Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
But they overpaid so that they could get Giannis to stay. And
is that worth?
I mean, he signed the Supermax, so yes.
Yeah.
He signed a 5-year deal that's worth $228 million to him. So, I mean, most people, if they get shown, yeah, you get a guaranteed $228 million over the next 5 years. Most people are going to sign that.
Right.
You know? There's not a lot of people in the world who have the confidence to be like, yeah, I'm going to get more later.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to turn down that guaranteed $228 million.
Right. A guaranteed $228 million. I feel like turning that down is just a bad business move.
Yeah. He also got a 15% trade kicker on the contract, which means he is not going to be traded.
Yeah.
Because 15% of $228 million, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
No one's going to want to pay that salary.
Yeah.
No one's going to have the salary cap room to pay that salary.
Oh, absolutely not.
So they're just going to be a really good regular season team. I can see them making the second round of the playoffs and probably losing to the Celtics or Heat. Or actually, they could lose to the Celtics in the first round with the way that this is set up right now.
Yeah.
Overall, the way that this is right now, I think the Celtics beat them in the second round. And I think the Sixers beat the Nets in the second round. And then the Sixers over the Celtics in the conference finals to make the finals.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Moving on
to the
I
Western
need to click
Conference.
This. Yeah, there you go.
Western Conference. All right. So, at the top, let's talk about the top team in the Western Conference, the LA Lakers.
Okay.
There's not a lot of conversation to be had other than they won the title. They got better after they won the title. They're the clear favorite to win this year. LeBron is but a year older, but does that really matter? He's LeBron. He's going to be the same.
Yeah, he's LeBron.
He's going to average like 25, 10, and 10. Like 25, 7, and 10, probably.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And then he's got Anthony Davis, who I think is the perfect player to play alongside of him. A defensive big man who has the skill to do everything.
Right.
Like, Anthony Davis is a fantastic player. In his own right, like a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
And LeBron is number 1. They're gonna be the favorites.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're the Dodgers of basketball.
And they signed the person who won 6th Man of the Year in the offseason. A little bit questionable because he didn't play well in the playoffs, which is why he wasn't worth as much money.
Right.
But he's looking to prove himself on a shorter contract.
Yeah.
So that he can make more money. And they
Makes sense.
Yep, exactly. That's a lot of the motivation with NBA players.
Yeah, it's a lot of motivation for people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Something capitalism.
Capitalism. Don't want to get into that on this stream.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Not in the basketball
Not
one.
right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, LeBron, Anthony Davis, they signed Montrezl Harrell. They retained most of the important pieces, and they signed Wes Matthews. They got Dennis Schroeder to run the point. He was the runner-up for 6th Man of the Year last year as a point guard off the bench for the Thunder. Really good, sort of combo guard. Doesn't want to be the main ball handler, but really good as a secondary ball handler running the pick and roll.
Right.
So he'll be great off ball with LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
And then let's move on to the Clippers.
The Clippers
who choked last year, but their roster is too talented for me to move it any lower than 2nd.
Yeah.
They might have gotten better as well. They signed Serge Ibaka in the offseason, and he's really what they needed. They needed someone who could run the center and not get eaten alive on one end of the floor.
Yeah.
Because they had Montrezl Harrell last year, who is a fantastic offensive player, but is undersized for the center position, so he gets eaten alive on defense sometimes.
Makes sense.
In particular, against the player that is guarding Kawhi here on this slide. Let me move the cursor. Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Jokic ate Montrez alive, and that is why they lost that playoff series. which is why Montrez didn't get that much money.
Right.
So they needed someone who could play the center position. They had Montrez on one side, Zubac on the other. And Zubac was good defensively, terrible in the liability offensively, and you basically didn't need to guard him.
Makes sense.
So Ibaka is good because he can stretch the floor on offense and is still a decent shot blocker on defense. They used to call him Ibaka. Ibaka. That was in his younger days when he was more athletic.
Right.
Yeah. The Denver Nuggets are actually super young and interesting. Jamal Murray is an up-and-coming player. And they actually also have not quite a product of the Seattle area, but someone who played in Seattle for his senior year of high school.
Yeah.
In Michael Porter Jr., who's a super interesting up-and-coming young player.
Right.
He was the number one player in high school the 1 year that he played in Seattle. He played for Nathan Hale and led them to an undefeated season and a national championship.
Pretty good.
The year before, Nathan Hale, Ingram High School actually beat Nathan Hale, which we didn't win a lot of games.
Yeah.
But we beat Nathan Hale. The year after, Nathan Hale wins a national championship going undefeated. The year after, they're bad again.
How about
everyone left.
There's got to be a documentary on that.
There should be. It's such an interesting thing. They got Brandon Roy, a former NBA player, as their coach.
Yeah.
And then immediately got the Porter brothers and like a couple other D1 level players, and then won a national championship.
How about that?
Yep. Quite the thing. But Michael Porter Jr., super young, up-and-coming scorer. The man can score the basketball in any way that he wants. Similar, he's a bit bigger than Kevin Durant, but not quite as proficient at all of the things.
Yeah.
Little less smooth. Kevin Durant has the smooth aspect whenever he's scoring the ball, so it looks so cool when he does it. Michael Porter Jr. can do a lot of those similar things. He's just a worse defender and not quite as consistent offensively.
Makes sense.
But he is a 6'10" player that can play like a guard.
That's pretty valuable.
Exactly. And score the ball.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Nikola Jokic is like probably one of the two best centers and true centers in the league alongside Joel Embiid. Great passer.
Yeah.
They run the offense through him at the top of the key a lot of the time, which is really interesting with him running the offense as a big man, which doesn't happen in today's current, like, it doesn't happen in the current NBA.
Yeah, it's not meta.
No, it is not meta.
All right.
The Dallas Mavericks are super interesting this year. They probably have the highest variance amongst this sort of mid-level, sort of the 2 through 8 seed in the West, I think are fairly interchangeable. The Dallas Mavericks have the biggest range within that. Like, they could be 2 or they could be 8.
They wouldn't fall lower than 8 though.
I don't think they would, simply because Luka is so good.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic, now third-year player, was a second-year player last year, was an MVP candidate for the first couple weeks of the season, like an early candidate, then fell off a little bit, but still averaged like 25, 8, and 8, which is nutty.
Yeah.
He's such a good scorer. He's not quite as efficient as people make it out to seem like he would be. He doesn't quite shoot the percentage from 3 that you would want because he takes so many.
Right.
And some of them are so hard that there's like no way he's going to make them.
Yeah, like a low percentage play.
Yeah. But if Porzingis stays healthy, his like co-star in the offense.
Yeah. Just realized this. Yeah, go ahead.
Then they can actually make a run this year to be the 2nd seed if he truly performs to be the level of player that he can be.
Yeah.
People see him as the next successor to LeBron, as sort of the face of the league once LeBron is out of here. Luka can sort of take that role.
Right.
He's sort of a fun-loving guy. He was a professional in Europe, so he knows how to act as a professional, which makes him super fun and interesting to watch.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Did we mention the Nuggets?
We did.
All right. Golden State.
Golden State. Steph Curry is back, and I just want to watch Steph Curry play basketball some more because it's a lot of fun to watch Steph Curry play basketball.
Steph Curry's really good.
He's quite good at the game of basketball. And beyond that, he's just a lot of fun. He will pull up from anywhere, shoot the ball from anywhere, and he's so much fun. And I missed him last year when he went out injured with a broken hand.
Oof.
And it was a shame that they started off as bad as they did. I have them as sort of the 5th seed. If they had Clay back, I have no idea where I would put them. Probably 3rd. But Clay tore his Achilles in a practice a couple weeks ago. And, it's so sad. I wanted to watch both of them. Klay Thompson definitely smokes the most weed of any NBA player. I can guarantee.
Team joint roller.
I can guarantee you this is a fact.
Okay.
This man looks so stoned all of the time. Klay Thompson seems like he would just go in at halftime, smoke a bowl, and then come back out for the second half and play just as well.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like some other players on the team that I know. On our team.
Yeah. Happens. Happens. But yeah. Ooh. Klay Thompson, I will miss seeing him because he is the most prolific off-ball shooter the league has ever seen. He's more than just an off-ball shooter, but when he is an off-ball shooter, he is a threat like none other. He, in a game one time, played 3 quarters because they were blowing them out so much, scored 60 points, and dribbled the ball 11 times.
Wow.
He was just set up coming off of screens and would come off a screen. An off-ball shooter? Alright, Caden. So an off-ball shooter is referring to a shooter when you are moving without the ball in your hands. On-ball is assuming that you have the ball in your hands. Off-ball means you do not have the ball in your hands. So you're sort of waiting to be set up.
Yeah.
It's more the act of someone else setting you up.
And then you just take the shot.
And then you take the shot. Typically, you see it a lot in the NBA with a drive and kick. So someone will drive to the basket, draw defenders in if they beat theirs, and then they can kick it out to an open player with a pass, and they'll shoot the 3 if their defender left them open.
There you go.
That is seen a lot. Typically, it is a pick and roll to get someone open with some shooters on the outside. Find the shooters. It's a lot of NBA offense.
Yeah, there you
go. Seeing Steph Curry back is going to be great. He's going to single-handedly drag the Warriors to like the 5th seed. They traded for Kelly Oubre this offseason, who will help hold it over while Clay is injured.
There you go.
Kelly Oubre, who helped the Phoenix Suns design their jersey for this season and then got traded.
Wow, that's sad. Honestly, kind of sad.
It's so sad because the jersey would have looked so good on him. Kelly Oubre, yeah. Kelly Oubre is Valley Boy.
Valley Boy?
Valley Boy. Valley Boy.
Valley Boy.
That is the only way to describe him.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Let's move on to the Portland Trailblazers.
Portland Trailblazers.
So, here we are. Caden, this is your team. You might want to listen up.
Yeah,
so
Caden.
Portland is super interesting because Damian Lillard. It's Dame time.
Dame time?
Dame time. The man is so good at the game of basketball. Damian Lillard is a point guard.
Point guard.
Who, similar to Steph Curry in the way that he will just pull up from 3 anywhere, has won multiple playoff series with a last-second buzzer-beating shot, including one from like 40 feet.
That's quite a bit of distance.
Yeah, he shot the ball from like 40 feet away over... No, we cannot pull up the buzzer beater, Caden. We do not want to be sued.
Yeah, I'm not out here trying to get owned on TOS.
Yeah, we do
no,
not...
Caden.
Caden, we do not want to be sued.
Do you want to pay for the $1 million lawsuit that could possibly happen that I'm not willing to take the chance of happening? Because if so, yeah, I'll pull it up. But I'm not trying to get owned by a lawsuit.
That's fair.
Well, yeah, we're gonna be transformative of our content. That's what we're doing with the photos.
Yeah.
But you have a device. You can pull up the buzzer beater yourself.
It's true, you can.
We could link to it, and that's about all we could do.
Yeah, but so Damian Lillard is fantastic, especially when it comes to clutch time. So when it comes to when the game is either going to be won or lost, he is one of the best in the league at making sure your team wins.
There you go.
It's really good to see him back at his peak like he was. Kawhi is still better than AD. No.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
You know what, Duncan? I will talk to you about this later. This will come up in a later segment.
Yeah.
So Portland with Dame.
We'll get there.
No.
No,
I'm just gonna say no on that one.
All right.
So with Dame, CJ McCollum as the shooting guard, fantastic backcourt. They traded for Robert Covington this offseason, which is really what they needed as a wing defender who can shoot, 3-and-D type player. They got Gary Trent coming off the bench still to be a shooter. They got Zach Collins, Gonzaga guy, who's good defender to play the 4.
Yeah.
Can potentially become a stretch, and Yusuf Nurkic to play the 5. It's overall a solid lineup, but I just feel like they're going to fall to 6th in the West due to some amount of injury.
Yeah.
Because Collins has never really played a full season, and neither is Nurkic, I think. So
Fair.
It's bound to happen. The Phoenix Suns traded for Chris Paul this offseason, and I think that's going to make them a fantastic team to watch.
Yeah?
I think with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Miles Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dario Saric, DeAndre Ayton, you got a lot of wing depth there that I think is great, as well as DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and CP3, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker.
You're very reactive.
Yes.
You're gonna be a good streamer.
Duncan, SMH. CP3 is not washed. He was second team All-NBA last year, and I will not take this slander that this man is washed. Still a fantastic point guard. So, let's move on to the Jazz. The Jazz are interesting. I think they've been the same thing for too long, and they're going to be figured out. Donovan Mitchell is great. Donovan Mitchell is great, and he will be great. Rudy Gobert can be played off the court at any moment, even though he's a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Because he cannot guard the perimeter. He is simply an inside shot blocker.
Makes sense.
That is interesting because why would you get a Defensive Player of the Year if you get consistently played off the court on defense?
Yeah.
You know, that's my issue with the award sometimes, is it gets focused too much on big men.
Yeah.
Who block shots. Because technically they have like really high advanced defensive stats, even though they get played off the court sometimes.
Makes sense. We'll get to that because we're going to talk about award races.
So yeah. He's talking about the Jazz. I don't think Donovan Mitchell has much of a chance, if any. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's got that sort of caliber ready yet. I don't think the team is going to be good enough around him to get him to that level. I think they have some decent surrounding pieces, but I don't think that they're good enough to get to that point to be ready for that.
Hey, thanks for the follow.
Oh, thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow.
So the Utah Jazz, not going to be that good because I think they're going to be figured out. They're not going to be a high enough seed, and truly you do need to be a high seed in...
Hey, thanks for the follow, Duncan.
Hey, thank you, Duncan.
And thanks, Pete.
They're not going to be a high enough seed in the playoffs. They're going to be figured out. Joe Ingles is only a year older, and he didn't look great last year. So what does that mean about this year? So let's look at...
Just so you know, we have about 4 minutes, 30 seconds till next ad.
Okay, I can get through the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
So the Memphis Grizzlies, the first team I have not making the playoffs besides the play-in games. The Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Justice Winslow. Good young team. Ja Morant is super fun to watch. Brandon Clark is super fun to watch as well. Super athletic players. They love to dunk on people, which is really fun to watch.
Yeah.
I personally have them marked as one of my favorites to watch on League Pass, and I'll pull up a game pretty much whenever they have one on and just have it on in the background.
There you go.
Because you'll never know when you see like a crazy highlight of Ja throwing a lob and Brandon Clark dunking on someone, or Ja Morant just going up and dunking over someone. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
Fairly consistently. He's such an athletic player, so fun to watch. Ended up winning Rookie of the Year last year.
All right.
All right. They also have some other pieces that are cool. Jonas Valanciunas played for the Raptors for a long time. Was part of a trade to Memphis for Marc Gasol, who ended up signing with the Lakers this past offseason.
Yeah.
Memphis. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why is Memphis in the Western Conference if you don't know the NBA?
I was thinking that. I'm not going to lie.
Were you actually?
I was like,
Memphis, why are they in the Western Conference? But to be fair,
Houston is in the AL West, to be fair.
Yeah, and Dallas is in the NFC East in football. Sports conferences make no sense.
Sports conferences don't agree with geography.
No, they don't. Except for in this case, there is a reason why Memphis is in the Western Conference.
We'll get there.
I'm actually going to tell you right now.
Okay.
Western Conference, Memphis Grizzlies used to be located in Vancouver, Canada.
All right.
And then they got sold to someone and they got moved to Memphis. And they didn't get changed to the East.
Fair enough. Happens.
It happens. They moved.
Are they the farthest east Western team?
New Orleans?
New Orleans might be
further east. It's either New Orleans or Memphis.
Yeah. Minute 45 seconds.
All right. All right. I'm going to at least get started with like James Harden. So we're on the Houston Rockets. So we're going to talk about James Harden.
Oh, baby.
That's going to be mostly after the ad break, but James Harden is ignoring every single COVID protocol. Like, why? This man, does COVID exist to you? He was supposed to be at practice with the Houston Rockets. He sort of requested a trade this offseason. It was unclear whether he actually did. He went to a strip club to his homie's birthday party. No mask, nothing. It was in Florida because Florida doesn't give a shit.
True.
He was supposed to be at practice, and he went from Miami to Vegas to somewhere else in like a 3-day like bonanza. He went to like
absolute
all the
bender.
Yeah, he went to like all the strip clubs, and then showed up and had to go through like massive COVID testing before he could get to practice.
Yeah.
And then showed up to the first game and now has a photo of him being memed for looking fat as hell.
Wow.
Because he looks kind of chubby.
Oof.
He's already a player that looks a little bit chubby. But then there's this photo of him that looks...
huge.
He looks like a massive man.
Yeah.
Which he is 6'7" as a shooting guard. But that, you know... Alright.
We're going to talk more shit about James Harden after the ad break. As a reminder, if you don't want to deal with ads, you could drop a subscription. Means a lot, helps out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do ad-free viewing. We answer subscriber questions in the breaks. Yeah, I'm going to run the ad break now and deal with pizza.
Alright. I think I'm
Hello.
going to get pizza.
Hello? Yep. Oh, I can hear you. Yeah, sounds good. We'll be right down. We're the first house on the street.
Oh, should I stay and entertain people?
Yeah, no,
I can stay and entertain.
No, you can stay and
entertain subscribers.
Sounds good. Subscriber only content.
All right.
Refrigerator repairman.
Refrigerator repairman? What? Josiah will understand. Huh? Alright. This is subscriber only content. Let me answer Duncan's questions. I know he's not a subscriber, but this will incentivize him to become one. Spida, so Kyle Lowry is not better than Dame Lillard. Let's be clear on this. Kyle Lowry is a great player. I love the man. He is a lovable NBA player. He will take charges. He will play with energy. He will be a great leader. But that does not make him a player that brings a team to another level like Dame does. If you take Dame off of the Portland Trail Blazers, they're probably finishing down in the Sacramento, Minnesota tier, down there in the 12 to 13 range. But if you take Kyle Lowry off the Raptors, let's see. Let's go back to the East. So, if you take Kyle Lowry off the Raptors, they probably fall to the 9 seed. They don't fall nearly as far. They fall from 6 to like 9. In the West, you take Dame off the Blazers, they're in the San Antonio, Minnesota, Sacramento tier. They're not going anywhere. He is the only reason that they are going anywhere.
Hey, Gabby, pizza's here.
Alright. We apparently have pizza.
I brought some pepperoni and some wine.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Smooth the bagel.
Yes. I will move that down here.
Let's push my keyboard in.
Alright. We are ready.
We close my door for sound.
Refrigerator repairman.
That means that maybe my butt crack showed. I don't think it did.
Okay.
I hope it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Might have been mine.
Might have been.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh well. Alright. So James Harden. So many things wrong with this man. James Harden decided to do this crazy COVID ignoring trip. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He has come out as having controlled the franchise for like the past couple of years.
Which is insane.
In, like, every decision that they do. He has a say on everything that franchise does, including the days that they travel, because he wants to be able to stay in certain cities longer so that he can go to their strip clubs more.
It's insane. That's just remarkably egotistical.
Incredibly. he's sort of requesting a trade. There's a lot of talks that he might get traded to the Philadelphia 76ers because the former general manager from Houston is now in Philly, and he's known as having a good relationship with James Harden.
Fair enough.
The talk is that maybe Ben Simmons will get traded for James Harden. I personally will not endorse any trade that sends Ben Simmons away.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I love the man. But James Harden, fantastic player, just happens to be a nutcase that we've kind of been figuring out this offseason that he is a nutcase. Yeah. Just a lot going on with him.
Absolutely a lot going on.
Requesting a trade, which is why I have the Rockets so low in the standings. I have the Rockets.
One of these pieces?
Yeah.
Just trade the plate.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the Rockets.
The Rockets, I have them so low right now because James Harden has requested a trade.
Mm-hmm.
If James Harden commits to this team and plays, they probably finish in the 4 seed range. But with any sort of the return they'll get on James Harden after these rumors basically are going to tank this man's trade value, the wanting out aspect gives him no real value.
Yeah.
No real reason for any team to be like, yeah, I'll give up my entire future for him.
Right. Do you think that he would play better in a city with good strip clubs?
So this is actually, there has been a statistical analysis done on the NBA subreddit about how he does in cities that have better strip clubs. It's a linear regression that was run based on his game score, which is like a singular game, how well did you play in that game score, against some rating system for strip clubs across the country. Yep. And he, in fact, does play better in cities that have better strip clubs.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's some horse shit. I can't, like, I can, but I can't believe that. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep. It's kind of crazy.
It's pretty nutty. So.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that during storylines.
Storylines as well. So let's get on to the Pelicans. So the Pelicans, I think, if they had not traded Drew Holiday, they would have been in contention for the playoffs this year. But they traded one of their better players. They still have Zion, who's sort of an X factor. If he comes out and plays to the fullest of Zion's potential, they probably make the playoffs.
Right.
I just don't think he will. I think he'll be good, but I don't think
He won't be the peak Zion.
He won't explode. Basically,
right.
He'll be good. But they lost Drew Holiday, who was a key part on their defense that wasn't already great. But they did get 4 first-round picks in return for him, so it'll be fantastic in the long run.
Fair enough.
They did trade him because he was going to leave in free agency the year after. Still a young and developing team. They have so many assets from the Anthony Davis trade. They traded Anthony Davis, got the first overall pick, and then got the 4th overall pick from the Lakers in that same draft, plus like 4 other first-round picks and some young pieces. They're set up for the future. They have a lot of firsts. They signed Steven Adams, they traded for Steven Adams from the Thunder, which gives them the largest 4-5 combo in the league by far. Steven Adams is built like a brick, and you do not want to fuck with the dude.
Fair enough.
He's like 7'1", like 280, built like a brick.
That's massive.
I mean, Zion himself is like 6'6", 275, playing the power forward. So if you have that combination at power forward center, you're just gonna bully some people inside some nights.
Yeah.
Let's go with the Sacramento Kings. So with the Sacramento Kings, they have an interesting young core with De'Aaron Fox. Buddy Hield kind of wants to be traded from the team. There were a lot of rumors that he was going to be traded to the 76ers because he's a great shooter. He's been reportedly wanting out, and the Sixers were looking for shooting, but the Sixers traded for all the shooting that they need.
Right.
Including Seth Curry, who's on a way better contract than Buddy Hield, but I actually think is a better player than Buddy Hield overall.
Yeah. I want to clarify, the closed captions has that at Steph, right?
Steph? No, it's Seth. Seth Curry. Curry. His younger brother.
Yeah, Seth Curry. There you go. Closed captions got it right that time.
Mm-hmm. So, De'Aaron Fox, super exciting young player to watch. So fast. He's nicknamed Swipa the Fox.
Swipa the Fox?
Because he likes to steal the ball and then go the other way with it.
Makes sense.
He gets a lot of steals sort of from the other guard and will just outrun them to the other end for a layup.
There you
go. Let's see. Anything else about the Kings? I think they're good enough to get the 12 seed. They're better than the 3 teams below them.
But not better than any of the teams above.
Yeah. I think they're sort of in that spot where they're better than those 3 teams below them, but they're worse than those 11 teams above them.
Yeah,
There's definitely a bottom 4 in the West. Like, I don't think anyone from the bottom 4 will be up over anyone in the top 11.
All right.
The Minnesota Timberwolves had the first overall pick in the draft this past year and drafted Anthony Edwards, who super developmental prospect, basically taken on raw talent alone.
Right.
Body type, decent feel for the game, needs to develop on defense, needs to develop a jump shot, but is fantastic going to the rim. Basically, a lot of people say they took Andrew Wiggins 2.0, who was a player that they got with the first overall pick years ago. They actually traded for him after he was picked, but he never played a game for the other team. So basically, they took him with the first overall pick, who is now a Warrior, but they took him with the first overall pick when he had the nickname coming out of high school, Maple Jordan.
Maple Jordan.
And then it turns out he just didn't like to play basketball.
Oof.
And they then signed him to a max contract.
Huh. Don't like to play basketball? Let's give you a whole lot of fucking money to play basketball.
He did score like 20 points per game. He just wasn't a good player that contributed to winning because he didn't play defense.
Right. Right, so
they also have Karl Anthony Towns, who by all means is one of the greatest offensive centers in the league right now.
Right.
He just can't play defense. And that is a theme on the Minnesota Timberwolves. A lot of their players are, they're a good player. They can score the ball. They can't play defense, though.
Sounds like a theme.
Yep. So that's why they're going to be down here. They're decent players all around. Karl Anthony Towns is fantastic. He's a center that shoots 40% from 3, which is amazing. On actual high volume. So it's not like he's making 1 a game. He's making like 4 a game.
Yeah.
San Antonio. San Antonio is interesting. I think they might finish better than this, but I think they probably are going to trade their 2 pieces to contenders. So they have LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan, who are these veteran players who are both on expiring contracts. So they're both going to be free agents this next offseason. And they're not what they once were. They're both sort of old, but past their prime, really good former All-Stars. Really good for a team that's in contention this year to try and put themselves over the top to try and win a title.
Right.
So some team that's trying to win a title this year, that's trying to put themselves over the top,
might trade for one.
Will probably trade for one of these players at the trade deadline.
Makes sense.
To try and give them another shot.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are tanking.
They're bad.
They're tanking. They have the largest amount of assets in the NBA right now. They have so many first-round picks. There was a meme going around this offseason because their general manager kept trading everything they had of value for future first-round picks. It was like a meme of like a child doing like this hands with the eyes.
Yeah.
The this hands, and it was like every team's first round picks, and it's this captioned.
I can has. Yeah.
Give to me.
Give to me. It's mine. Makes sense.
Yeah. The team has like 20 future first round picks in the next like 5-6 years.
Wow.
It's over 3 per year for the next 6, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
It's kind of insane.
That's pretty nutty.
At one point, they're going to have to trade some of them.
But hey, having that is better than not having it, right?
Oh, so true. They're going to have to trade it, but they have it.
They have it to trade. They have the ammunition for the trade.
Exactly. They're definitely a location that a lot of people are looking at. Oh, if a star wants to be traded from his team where he is now, they're going to open that chest of assets and they're going to be like, here, have 6 first round picks.
Yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
All right.
MVP race.
So, let's talk about the MVP race. I think the Lakers are by far and away the best team in the league this year. And I think LeBron is going to win MVP. The next 6... aren't in any particular order. I think all of them are probably similar likeliness to win the MVP.
Which is not because LeBron?
No. It's still likely that one of them could.
Yeah.
I just think they're all in the same tier. I think LeBron is a tier above.
Okay.
And I think if the Lakers are the best team in the West and people see it again that he is truly that dominant of a force as a leader and as a player and as a coach basically for this team, he will win MVP.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, his own teammate, I have at 3 there. Because I think he could have better statistics than LeBron this year. And more often than not, what happens is that the MVP goes to the best player on the best team.
Yeah.
That is a lot of how it happens in basketball. There's also sort of, over the past 20 years, there are voting things that happen, voting patterns that have emerged. The big 3 being that if you meet these 3 criteria, you can win the MVP.
Okay.
Yeah. One of these 3 things has to be true. You are LeBron James. You did not win an MVP in any year previous, except for the previous year.
Yeah.
You are either a back-to-back MVP, or you are a first-time MVP, or you are LeBron James.
Makes sense. So LeBron James has basically won every other, every third, or back-to-back.
No, he has not actually won one recently.
Oh.
Because of voter fatigue, people have gone away from giving LeBron the award. He could have won it. He's been in contention every year. But he typically doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Even though he is acknowledged as the best player in the league.
Makes sense.
It's just a weird thing about how voting works in the NBA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Embiid is the best player on the 76ers, and I think they're going to overperform a lot of people's expectations this year, which overperforming expectations is a crucial part about winning MVP sometimes, is if a team massively overperforms, they're typically going to reward the best player on that team.
Right.
And then Giannis has won the last 2, so it would be dumb not to put him in here to try and go back to back to back. But I think people have realized now that he's just going to choke in the playoffs. And once someone has choked in the playoffs so many times, people
lose faith
in them as a player. Even if they're as dominant, he's not going to get the MVP votes that he would have.
Right.
You know?
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Kawhi, the Clippers get the 1 seed over the Lakers. He might win it. if he plays enough games, because he usually likes to do this thing called load management.
Mm-hmm.
Down the wrong pipe.
Oof.
Ooh. We are live.
We are live, which means that when we choke, you get to see it.
Yep.
Just like when an NBA player chokes, everybody sees it.
Yep. Giannis does indeed choke.
Yep.
That is specifically targeted at you, Duncan. I know you're a fan. Giannis does indeed choke.
Yeah.
Don't question it. It's just facts.
Yeah, where's Duncan at?
Kawhi, the Clippers, I think they're going to finish as the 2 seed, and I think they're going to do it just sort of quietly this season, so I don't think they're going to... We will chat later. Okay. He did not listen then, because I said LeBron is 1, and then 2 through 7 are in pretty much any particular order, just the order that I like them in.
Yeah. You're going to call as soon as the stream's over.
Oh, probably. Anthony Davis, as I said earlier, Kawhi could win it. Giannis could win it. Luka is sort of the favorite pick right now by a lot of people. People see him as taking enough of a step forward so that he can... if he takes another step forward like he did last year, he could easily win the award. Damian Lillard, if the Portland Trailblazers come out of nowhere and just get a hot regular season and finish like the 2 seed in the West out of nowhere, he'll probably get the award because people really are into Dame time right now.
Yeah.
It's a very narrative-driven award and always kind of has been.
Makes sense.
At least in the past 10 years. So I think LeBron wins MVP. This is actually the last picture I have on the slideshow because I ran out of space to cite them all, as well as they're not as important. So here we have the All-NBA teams. This is sort of where the first team All-NBA is 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. Second team, same thing, and you're just sort of ordering them. These are sort of what are considered the 15 best players in the league.
Yeah.
I think that this year, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Giannis, and Joel Embiid will be the first team All-NBA. Because if Joel Embiid is up there in MVP conversations, he's got to be the first team All-NBA center.
Makes sense.
Luka is going to take a little bit of a step forward, but not quite as much as people are expecting, I think. I think he's going to be a little bit better than last year, but not a lot better than last year.
Okay.
LeBron is going to win MVP, so he's going to be first team. Giannis is fantastic. He's going to be first team. Steph is going to return to form and be first team. Ben Simmons, like I said, he's my pick for Defensive Player of the Year, and if he does that, he will be second team All-NBA. I think he was 3rd last year. Dame, I have him in the MVP conversation. He should be up here. Kevin Durant, if he comes back from injury and is 95% of himself, he's still a second team All-NBA player, and I think is actually better than some of the people on first team, but he just won't have the stats because he's playing along Kyrie. Kawhi, I had him in the MVP conversation. It makes sense he should be here. Anthony Davis technically is a power forward, but can play center, plays a lot of power forward. It's questionable. You can put him in at center, apparently, on the ballots, so I put him here. Bradley Beal, like I said, fantastic scorer. Devin Booker, similar player. Basically 2 guards that score a lot, and they're really efficient at it. Jimmy Butler is the leader of the Miami Heat and deserves to be recognized for that. Emotional leader, fantastic player, clutch time scorer.
Makes sense.
Big time. Jason Tatum, key to the Celtics' success a lot of the time. Not gonna lie though, he kind of gets locked up by Ben Simmons whenever they face off. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. He does get locked up. He does shoot like 30% when he's guarded by Ben Simmons. I think it might be 28%. So that's low.
That is low.
Nikola Jokic, I would have liked to put him second team, but there just wasn't space. I think he's really good, but I don't think he contributes enough defensively like the other two that are first and second team centers. Like Anthony Davis is in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, and Joel Embiid could be.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Rookie of the Year. I threw in Tyrese Maxey at the bottom of this list just because I'm a biased Philadelphia 76ers fan who believes in my players, and I wanted a fifth name.
Yeah.
James Wiseman was the second overall pick by the Warriors. If he comes out and has a good season, if Steph Curry tries to set him up a lot, which he could have a lot of stats that contribute a lot. Bol will end up being the backup center for the Nuggets this year. He was a second-round pick last year, but didn't play as a rookie except for the bubble.
Huh.
He started to play in the bubble, but the NBA decided the bubble didn't make it so that he wasn't a rookie. So he's still in contention for Rookie of the Year this year.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. LaMelo Ball, like I said, interesting. Really fun, great passer, is on a decently bad team, so he's going to have the opportunity to put up the stats that you need to win this award. And being on a bad team is the reason that I have Obi Toppin as my pick for the Rookie of the Year.
He's at the top of your list.
He's at the top of my list because he plays for the New York Knicks.
Oh.
He plays for the New York Knicks, so he is going to have the opportunity. He is going to play a lot because he was like a third-year player. He was a redshirt sophomore last year in college.
Okay.
So, the age of a junior coming out. So, more NBA ready than most prospects.
Makes sense.
He was National Player of the Year last year in college. So, he should be ready coming in. Tyrese Maxey, great ball handler. Like I said earlier, can play the 1 or the 2. Going to run some great pick and roll for the Philadelphia 76ers, which I'm very excited about.
Sweet.
Defensive Player of the Year. All right. This is where Ben Simmons will win this award. He consistently guards the best wing player on the opposite team, or guard. He will guard your point guard. He will guard your shooting guard. He will guard your small forward. He will guard your power forward. He can guard some centers in the league.
Wow.
The man can guard 1 through 5. He had the best advanced metrics for defensive stats last year of anyone.
Nice.
Not named Giannis Antetokounmpo. Well, that's around the rim. He had the best perimeter defensive advanced statistics. At the rim, he's not as good because he's still a point guard.
Yeah, he doesn't have the size.
I mean, he is 6'10".
Okay, he has the size.
He has the size. He led the league in steals per game by a lot. He averaged like 2.5 steals a game. He had a game last year against the Pacers where he closed out the game. In the final 2 minutes of the game, it was a close game coming down to the wire. He had 4 steals in the last 2 minutes.
That's insane.
He stole like 2 separate inbound passes and took it the other way. It was like big time, just sealed the game. Read some passing. Yeah, it was insane to watch. I remember physically getting up out of my chair and yelling. Caden asked me what was up.
That's funny.
Let's see. Anthony Davis is the key to the Lakers defense, and they did have the second best defense in the league last year, which was a big reason that they won the title. He's the key to it. He is one of the best rim protectors in the league. So athletic, can guard the perimeter as well as a rim protector, which is super important in case you get switched onto a guard in a pick and roll situation, which is why I have Rudy Gobert as low as he is. Because while Rudy Gobert is the best shot blocker in the league, he is the best protector at the rim. He cannot guard anyone on the perimeter. He is going to get blown by most guards in the NBA. So you run a pick and roll, you get the switch with Gobert on your guard, and you beat him off the dribble.
Makes sense.
So, Giannis won Defensive Player of the Year last year alongside MVP, which was the only third person in history to do that. Should have been the fourth because I'm going to go on a tangent here. Quickly.
All right.
LeBron James should have won Defensive Player of the Year in the year 2013, but he lost it to Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol did not make first team All-NBA defense, but won Defensive Player of the Year.
Why?
No one knows. LeBron James deserved Defensive Player of the Year that year, and he still talks about it to this day.
Makes sense. That's a good chip on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah. He's talked about it a lot this offseason, actually. It's really funny. Marcus Smart, super fun defensive player to watch. A little too much flopping for my taste, but I had to be nice to some Celtics fans and put him on here, you know. Marcus Smart, as they say up in Boston. Pakika. So, with Marcus Smart, yeah, he's actually one of the best post defenders in the league, and he's a small point guard.
Huh.
But he's kind of thick, though.
He knows how to use his mass?
Yes, he very much knows how to use his mass. He pushes around most post players that are not Joel Embiid.
Makes sense.
Joel Embiid is just too big and strong and skilled.
Yeah.
But most other centers can be guarded by Marcus Smart.
All right.
It's quite interesting.
That is rather interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to...
So it looks like this is probably a good time to take our...
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our ad break coming up here again.
Final ad break.
This is probably the final ad break of the night.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to deal with ads, or if you just want to support the channel, go ahead and feel free to subscribe. I do ad-free viewing for subscribers. I also do, like, when I do multiplayer games, you have priority when I play with the community. And I'm still working on other benefits. Subscribers get to help shape the future of this channel. But for now, we're going to take an ad break and stuff our faces with pizza, probably.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's funny.
If anyone who has questions is in the chat as a subscriber, feel free to ask. I will answer them.
Yeah.
While I take a break from pizza. But
Woo.
He's like, correct. I don't listen.
Yeah. That's funny. That'd be funny. So, okay, what's something I don't like about Twitch necessarily is sometimes they don't run the ads when you tell them to run the ads.
Mm-hmm.
If they just let me have total control and say, okay, we're going to do ads right now, then it'd be fine. And who knows, maybe they'll listen more as I'm better about running the ads.
Exactly. Probably.
But yeah. 2 subscriptions away from getting more emote slots.
It's super exciting.
That is really exciting.
I'm quite excited for post-stream.
Oh yeah.
Mario Party.
Well, I'm not going to do Mario Party until I'm done with homework.
I know, but later.
Yeah. Completed 90-second ad break.
I'm almost done with my pizza, guys.
All right.
I'm going to finish it off.
I'm just going to put this out there. If anyone has questions, more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. All right.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
There we go. So, we talked about defensive of the player of the year.
Sixth man.
Let's get on to the sixth man of the year. So, this one is a little bit hard to predict because I don't know who's going to be starting for each team exactly. This is the best player coming off the bench.
Right.
In any given season. So, Montrezl Harrell actually won the award last year with the Clippers, but he's going to be playing for the Lakers this upcoming season. I predict that he's going to be coming off the bench and Dennis Schroeder is going to be starting, who I actually have as the second candidate for sixth man of the year. But if it's the other way around, I would have Dennis Schroeder as the favorite.
Yeah.
You know? So whichever one doesn't start is probably going to be my favorite for sixth man of the year. I then have Spencer Dinwiddie who is Do you want to hear the stereotype for the Sixth Man of the Year award?
Sure.
So 2 through 5 are all similar players.
Okay.
Combo guards off the bench who can score.
All right.
That's kind of the role of a sixth man, is to come in and run the second unit offense.
Makes sense.
So Dennis Schroeder does it very well. Spencer Dinwiddie is going to do it for the Nets pretty well, I'm certain. As long as he can accept being a backup to Kyrie, which not sure about. That team may implode.
May implode.
This is where I'm going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers some more. Shake Milton is going to win Sixth Man of the Year this year. No, he's not. But he could. He could. The coaching staff loves him. He's a fantastic worker. He's now in his third year as an NBA player. He dropped 40 on the Clippers last year and had Paul George asking for help. Paul George, who is at points in his career been an all-NBA defender. So if you got people asking for help at that point, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You're doing something right. Jordan Clarkson, who just re-signed to the Utah Jazz, he was traded in the middle of last season to the Jazz, but ended up playing very well in the sixth man role during his last half of the season that he was there. Mm-hmm. So he could come back in that role and do pretty well. All right, most improved player. This one is also very hard to predict because you're just going to have to go out on a limb with who you think is going to get better.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in Michael Porter Jr. He wasn't starting last year simply because they had players that they believed in more on defense around him. But now he's their only option that they can start at the 4 pretty much. I don't think they're going to start anyone else at the 3 or 4 over him.
Makes sense.
He's a fantastic scorer of the ball, which is not necessarily something that they need more of. They probably need more defense, but they don't have a better option. And he has the size and the athleticness.
Athleticism.
What are words?
What are words?
Wow. All right. He has the size and athleticism to develop into a decent defender if he puts in the work. It's just a matter of does he want to try. Lonzo Ball, I talked about him earlier. He's the oldest brother of the Ball family, with LaMelo as his youngest brother.
Yeah.
Great defender. If he can put together a consistent season, he might win this award. If he wins this award, the Pelicans probably made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Shake Milton, he wasn't a big piece last year for the Sixers until later in the season, so his stat jump is going to look like a lot. So that might win him this award. Jaylen Brown, I believe in a lot. He was a 20-point-per-game scorer last year, but he could be a 25-point-per-game scorer this year for the Celtics. Great defender. Sort of a new age Klay Thompson is the way that I look at him.
Makes sense.
Less smoking weed, more athleticism.
Hey, there you
go. A little bit less shooting, more athleticism. Version of Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Doesn't need the ball in his hands, but can if he has to.
Right.
DeAndre Ayton, I think, could see a huge increase in his stats, but I think a lot of voters will think that's due to Chris Paul, and it will be due to Chris Paul being his point guard. So a lot of voters won't vote him because they'll see it as only a product of Chris Paul.
Right.
Coach of the Year, this one's impossible to predict. You kind of just have to throw names at a board on who you think's a decent coach.
Whatever sticks.
Yeah. Rick Carlisle coached the Mavericks to have the 3rd best offense of all time last year.
Dang.
Yeah. That was interesting. Their offensive assistant got hired by the Rockets this past year as a coach. Yeah. For good reason.
Fair enough.
Frank Vogel is the coach of the Lakers, and I think they're going to finish as the best team in the league. So truly, there's no reason that they shouldn't have a coach in contention for Coach of the Year, even though their coach is truly LeBron. This award, if Frank Vogel wins it, should go to LeBron.
Yeah.
He should just request it and be like, give me the trophy.
Give me the trophy.
Give me the trophy. This is my trophy.
This is my trophy.
Doc Rivers, the coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, formerly known as Doc. He sort of goes by Doc, but in Philadelphia, there's only one person that's allowed to go by Doc.
Yeah.
That is Dr. Julius Erving, formerly of the Philadelphia 76ers, back in like the early 80s. Late 70s, early 80s, right?
Right.
I think. Fairly certain. Dr. J was back then. But so he goes by Glenn somewhat now. Sometimes Glenn, sometimes Doc Rivers. But much better coach. He was the coach of the Clippers last year. They fired him after they lost their series because they were angry.
Salty.
They were salty. He's won a title with the Celtics in 2008. He knows how to coach good offense. He coached a team that had no business being the 8th seed the year before to the 8th seed.
All right.
He can do well as a coach in the NBA. He just had a bad season because Kawhi was being a bitch boy.
Makes
a
sense.
Little bit. Kawhi was being a bitch boy because Paul George was injured most of the season and Kawhi wanted to take days off. Steve Nash, Steve Nash is the dart throw of this is a first-year coach who's coaching the Brooklyn Nets who have Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving, we haven't talked about much, but Kyrie Irving is one of the most interesting players to keep up with what he says on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Because this man says some shit.
All right.
At one point in his career, he was a flat earther.
What? Bruh.
There's actually a website where you play a game that is this a Jaden Smith quote or a Kyrie Irving quote?
Are they really that similar?
Yes.
Wow, what the fuck?
Yes. They are that similar.
That's insane.
That it is hard to tell the difference.
That's insane.
He just says some crazy shit on a day-to-day basis. And so he used to play for the Celtics 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He walked into practice one day and asked the coach, "What are your opinions on government?"
All right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Hey, that's fine. But in an NBA setting, to just walk into practice, into a meeting with your coach, and be like, "What are your views on government?"
Maybe not the respect that's expected in that situation. Maybe it's not the that's not the on-stage performance.
No, not really. He's in a meeting with his coach. So if Steve Nash can get him to do well and not say crazy shit or stay focused on the game of basketball, they will do well because they have Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
Makes sense.
And if he can get that team to gel, he could win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Eric Spoelstra is always in the running because he's always been a good coach. People gave him shit when LeBron was in Miami, but he's always been a good coach. The Heat could make the run back to the top of the Eastern Conference, and if they do, he's got a shot.
He's got a shot.
All right, so let's go into some storylines.
Before we get into it real quick, if you have questions and you're not a bot that's dropping one will become famous, if you have questions about the Infodump, feel free to drop them in the chat as we're winding down, as we're finishing up storylines, and we'll get to them as we get to them. Sounds good. All right, so storylines.
All right, storylines. So Harden, there's a lot of trade rumors around Harden, and the big thing, I think you click on the name, right?
Yeah, I think
yeah.
Mod
ban. So the big issue with Harden is he requested a trade in the same time that
I'm trying. What's happening?
All right.
What's happening?
What is happening?
I'm trying to get out of the name menus.
All right. So Harden requested a trade. He's looking to go to either Brooklyn, Philly, Milwaukee, or Miami is sort of the places he's requested going via trade, which let's talk about. That's kind of crazy that he's requesting where he's going to be traded.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's a little like, huh? Really? You can do that?
Like, they do that in baseball.
Yeah. It's just interesting. It's been happening more and more. Anthony Davis basically forced his way to the Lakers because he wanted to play with LeBron, and LeBron wanted to play with him.
Yeah.
Which, when LeBron wants something and the other person also wants it, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, Harden, Brooklyn doesn't quite have the assets. Philly's not going to give up what Houston really wants. If anything, Philly might be the place that he ends up just because they end up settling for Tobias Harris, maybe a Matisse Thybulle, and some picks.
Fair enough.
Which I would be very sad about because I love Matisse Thybulle. He also started a vlog series in the bubble.
Hey, that's pretty sweet.
Which was super interesting to keep up with. He got on a bunch of late night talk shows because of it.
Huh.
Super fun to watch. Would recommend.
All right.
Matisse Thybulle.
Would
recommend on YouTube.
All right.
The Heat, are they for real or were they just a bubble fluke? So they really sort of came together and bonded like no other team really did in the bubble. They just sort of played more chemistry bound than any other team, and it doesn't seem like that'll fully carry over when they come back outside of the bubble, because there is no bubble this season. And we'll actually go down to the last storyline I have for that, because how will COVID affect the season?
Yeah, that's a big question looming over a lot of major sports right now.
Yeah.
Unless you're the NFL, in which case, apparently fuck COVID regulations and get owned by COVID.
The NFL has actually been doing fairly decent.
Minus a few teams.
Minus a few things. There have been a few outbreaks.
The Titans, right?
The Titans, one time, that was like the worst thing at the start of the season. The Ravens more recently. But other than that, they've been doing great. In particular, the Seahawks have been doing great. They went the longest before someone on the team got COVID. But the person on the team who tested positive for COVID was on injured reserve and wasn't around the team anymore.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah. So no one who's been around the team has ever tested positive.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. It's been really nice this season. We've been super injured, but...
Yeah.
COVID will affect the season. People will go out with COVID. It's gonna happen. It's happening in the NFL. How is it gonna affect the regular season? Some players are just gonna miss 2-week stretches while being out with COVID. Some players are gonna be out for a couple days because someone who's in their close contact group within the team is gonna test positive for COVID.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's how the season is gonna work. People are gonna test positive for COVID, but they're gonna try and get through it with as few as possible.
Makes sense.
Yep. Let's go to, are the Lakers better? I think this is a clear answer to this question, and I'm going to say yes.
All right.
Because they signed Marc Gasol, who's fantastic backup big for them. He's going to start, but he's their backup big because Anthony Davis is going to play their crunch time center minutes.
Makes sense.
Basically, they signed Montrezl Harrell. They traded for Dennis Schroeder. They signed Wesley Matthews. Talen Horton-Tucker is coming up as a second-round pick, scoring 30 points per game in like this preseason, playing insanely well. Like, plus LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're so good this year.
Yeah.
They're so good this year. Can the Clippers come back with an adjusted roster? I'm going to go with yes. I have them as my second seed. I think they have the talent to just ride to the second seed. I think they'll make the conference semifinals or the conference finals this year. They'll play the Lakers. The Lakers will win, but I think they'll make the conference finals. Kawhi will drag them back there. Paul George might choke a little less in the playoffs, and Serge Ibaka will help them get there.
There you go.
They also just massively overpaid Marcus Morris.
Yeah.
They paid a role player $64 million over the next 4 years.
A lot of money.
Yep. His twin brother, who basically plays the same role, plays for the Lakers, and got signed for a minimum contract.
Huh. How about that?
Twin brother. They have a joint bank account.
That's hilarious.
One of them signed for 4 years, 64. The other one signed for 1 year, 2 mil.
Huh. That's funny.
Yup. One who didn't sign for 64 mil, I think it's Markieff. Yeah, Markieff. It's Markieff Morris and Marcus Morris. Markieff plays for the Lakers, and when Marcus Morris signed the $64 million deal, he says 64 mil in the bank, looking real nice right now.
Yeah.
He was like, yup, that joint bank account.
Joint bank account, Pog.
They also share an apartment in LA.
There you go.
They live in a 2-bedroom apartment, I'm fairly certain.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Oh, we are not on this. Oh, wait. We still have... Will
the Nets?
Will Philly flow on offense finally? Yes. Doc Rivers will make us run the pick and roll. We have really good offensive assistants to run the offense. Well, Doc Rivers can be more player-based.
Makes sense.
Even in the preseason, I was watching the offense, and it finally started to look like it flowed, which it never did last year, even when they were playing at their best. They blew out the Milwaukee Bucks, who finished as the first team in the regular season, on Christmas Day. Blew them out. They were up 30 at one point in the third quarter, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Absolutely destroyed them. But even then, their offense didn't look like it flowed. It just looked like a couple players were hot, which they were. Like, Joel Embiid was sinking threes at like 4 out of 5.
Wow.
Which is, he shoots better from threes than most centers. Like, he'll shoot 35% from 3, which is good.
Yeah.
But shooting 4 out of 5, you're going to destroy teams. Brooklyn self-destructing. I think Kevin Durant will keep it cool and calm and collected. I do not think they will self-destruct. But as far as a team that has the potential to self-destruct, this is the team that has the potential to self-destruct. Outside from the Rockets, who already self-destructed because Harden is requesting trades.
All right.
Questions.
And if there's anybody left in the chat, I'm going to put a chat message in just in case anybody's lurking.
Yeah.
We will take any final questions.
Yep. Any final questions?
Then we'll give it like a few minutes.
While you're doing homework, I think Gabby, Caden, and I are going to watch the last episode of Mando.
Makes sense. That's a good shout. I don't want to get spoiled on that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think we're probably I'm pretty sure we're probably just good to end it.
Yeah. Before we end, we should show.
Oh, before we end, I'm gonna hit. Yeah, we should show the links.
Yeah. Here are our sources for all of our pictures, so that we don't get sued. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll put the shout out there. Shout out to BallinAve. He's gonna start streaming soon. Yes. I'm gonna shout you out in the Discord as well.
Yeah, I'm building a new computer for Christmas, and once I get that up and coming and I'm back here for the new year, I'm going to start streaming a little bit, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, chat. Thanks for those of you who stuck around. I'll be live again probably tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how the night goes. We'll see how Mario Party goes. We'll see if I want to play more Monster Sanctuary after I finish homework and do Mario Party.
If he gets too tilted.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, y'all have a great night. And I might see you later or tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.